Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Welcome to the Winslow Township Board of Education regular meeting. Today is Wednesday, July 15, 2022. Public notice of this meeting was given to all board members and associates in the notice dated January 6, 2022. Adequate and electronic notice of this public meeting has been provided, specifying the time, place, and manner in which this meeting is being conducted. It was advertised in the Courier Post and posted in all schools, the administration office, the municipal building, the library, the Quadruple Center, Acres downtown, and the Winslow Township Post Office. And this is our mission statement. The mission of the Winslow Township School District, a large, diverse, and growing community, is to educate all students to become independent, lifelong learners, critical thinkers, and caring and confident members of their community. The district, in partnership with the community, and in the climate of cooperation and mutual respect, will provide an academic environment which values excellence and diversity, encourages students to strive for personal excellence, and assist them in acquiring the knowledge, skills, and attitudes necessary to contribute positively to a rapidly changing world. Roll call, please.
Mr. Blake.
Present.
Ms. Dredden. Here. Ms. Martin.
Ms. Martin will be absent this evening.
Thank you. Ms. Moore. Present. Ms. Davis. Present. Mr. Shaw.
Present.
Ms. Thomas. Present. Ms. Peterson. Present. And Ms. Pitts.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson. Stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
2021-2022 district goals. Number one, student achievement. Continue to implement best practices for delivering instruction to students utilizing all available and appropriate instructional models, which shall include ensuring the articulation at all grade levels throughout the district, focus on innovative classroom instruction at all grade levels, ensuring all students have equal access to equipment and resources needed to facilitate and promote student learning in any setting, evaluation and updating all district programs, including athletics and extracurricular activities, and letter E, accountability of all district staff. Number two, continue to foster a positive school environment that is conducive to teaching and learning. A, focus on building relationships among staff and families that will result in increasing learning and more effective instruction. B, emphasis on collaboration with all district stakeholders. C, promote an inclusive, diverse, and compassionate learning environment. Number three, market our strengths and achievements of all stakeholders to increase capacity for greater parent, caregiver, community support. Letter A, continue with our public relations marketing plan. B, continue to work with the various advisory committees in the district. And C, examine communication methods utilized by our district.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Moving down to the members who award the presentation. Dr. Chief, is the year presentation.
Madam President, we do not have any presentations this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Chief. Moving down to the members of correspondence. Ms. Boyle will review the correspondence.
Madam President, we have no correspondence this evening.
Thank you, Ms. Boyle. Moving down to the members for minutes. At this time, I'm asking for a motion to approve the meeting minutes of our Board of Education that was held on June 20th, 2022, open session. Is there a motion?
Madam President, if I may, you said June 20th, and that would be the 29th, unless it wasn't.
No, I'm sorry. Thank you. No, it is the 29th.
Motion approve the meeting minutes, regular meeting minutes for June 29th of the session.
Great second.
Moved by Mr. Shaw, second by Ms. Dredden. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Blake.
Abstain.
Ms. Dredden. Yes. Ms. Moore,
Yes.
Ms. Neolas,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Abstain.
Mr. Thomas,
Abstain.
Ms. Peterson, abstain, and Ms. Pitts.
Present.
Yes?
Yes.
We have, Mr. Long, 50% of favors here.
Carries.
Motion carried.
Thank you, Ms. Moore. Moving down, board members, I'm asking for a motion to approve the minutes of our regular meeting that was held June 29th, 2022, closed session. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the regular meeting minutes, June 29, 2022, closed session.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Shaw, second by Ms. Green. Any further comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call please.
Mr. Blake,
Abstain.
Ms. Stratton,
Yes.
Ms. Moore,
Yes.
Ms. Neolas,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Abstain.
Ms. Thomas,
Abstain.
Ms. Peterson, abstain, and Ms. Pitts.
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Thank you. Moving now, board members, to our committee reports. Would there be a committee report out of our athletic committee?
Not at this time, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw. Moving now, would there be a committee report out of our education committee?
No, Madam President, but the committee will be meeting at 4 p.m. next Tuesday, July 19th, via WebEx.
Thank you, Ms. Peterson. Would there be a committee report out of our equity, we changed that name to our DEI committee, our diversity, equity, and inclusion committee?
Not at this time, Mr. President.
Thank you, Ms. Thomas. Would there be a report out of the marketing committee?
Madam President, not at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Blake. Would there be a report out of the operations committee? Thank you, Mr. Chair. With regards to our policy committee, at this time, board members of the policy committee, please be advised that we will be holding the policy committee on July 21st, that's Thursday, 4 p.m. via WebEx, and again on August 18th at 4 o'clock via WebEx. Because we do have, as I'm advised, a good amount of policies that we do have to move. Okay? Citizens Advisory Committee, Mr. Martin is not here at this time. So we will move on. Board members, at this time, I'm asking for a motion to approve the superintendent's report that begins in the middle, page 2, and continues through to the top of page 4. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the superintendent's report.
Ready, second.
Moved by Mr. Shaw, second by Ms. Glidden. Will there be further comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call please.
Mr. Blake,
Yes.
Ms. Stratton,
Yes.
Ms. Moore,
Yes.
Ms. Neolas,
Yes.
Mr. Shaw,
Yes.
Ms. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson, yes, Ms. Pitts.
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Thank you, Ms. Moore. Board members, we're moving now to the Business Administrative Board Secretary report. Before I ask for a motion on that report, I draw your attention to page 10, number 17 on page 10. Which shows purposes, state contract measures. The second item down, for mechanical, I'm asking that we remove that. Okay? Having said that, I'm asking for a motion to approve the business administrator board secretary report with the exclusion on page 10, item 17. Report begins page 4, at the top of page 4, and continues through to the bottom of page 11. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the business administrator board secretary's report with the addition of item 17.
Moved by Mr. Shaw, second by Ms. Gooding. Any further comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call please.
Mr. Galais.
Yes.
Ms. Stratton.
Yes.
Ms. Moore.
Yes.
Ms. Nieves.
I actually need to recuse myself from, I think it was item 6 of the bill list. Item number 3958 in the board secretary's report as a fee from my conference attendance.
And for the balance of the report,
Fine, yes.
thank you. Mr. Shaw.
Yes, except for on the bills list, on, letter B, item 6, on the bills list, page 207, with PO number 205598 for Danby's. I need to recuse myself on that item.
Next day.
Moved by Mr. Shaw, second by Ms. Stratton. Any further comments or questions?
Madam President, we're doing the board secretary's report. I didn't get to roll call.
Okay.
Ms. Thomas.
Yes.
Ms. Peterson.
Yes.
And Ms. Pitts.
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Thank you. We're moving now, board members, from at the top of page 12. I'm asking for a motion to approve the personnel report. That begins and ends on page 12. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the personnel report?
Second grade.
Moved by Mr. Shaw, second by Ms. Stratton. Will there be further comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call please.
Mr. Galais.
Yes.
Ms. Stratton.
Yes.
Ms. Moore.
Yes.
Ms. Nieves.
Yes.
Mr. Shaw.
Yes.
Ms. Thomas.
Yes.
Ms. Peterson. Yes. And Ms. Pitts.
Yes.
Motion has carried.
Thank you, Ms. Moore. Moving now, board members, to our agenda. And that is the town countdown focus. So therefore, at this time, board members, I'm asking for a motion to approve the superintendent's report as it appears on our agenda on page 1. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the superintendent's report on the addendum?
Second.
Moved by Mr. Shaw, second by Mr. Stratton. Would there be further comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call please.
Mr. Galais.
Yes.
Ms. Stratton.
Yes.
Ms. Moore.
Yes.
Ms. Nieves.
Yes.
Mr. Shaw.
Yes.
Ms. Thomas.
Yes.
Ms. Peterson. Yes. And Ms. Pitts.
Yes.
Motion has carried.
Thank you. Moving down, I'm asking still on the agenda for a motion to approve the personnel report as it appears on the agenda. From the bottom of page 1 to the top of page 2. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the personnel report that's on the addendum?
Second. It's been moved by Mr. Shaw, second by Mr. Stratton. Any further comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call please.
Mr. Galais.
Yes.
Ms. Stratton.
Yes.
Ms. Moore.
Yes.
Ms. Nieves.
Yes.
Mr. Shaw.
Yes.
Ms. Thomas.
Yes.
Ms. Peterson. Yes. And Ms. Pitts.
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Thank you, Ms. Moore. Still on our agenda, board members, I'm asking for a motion to approve the business administrative or secretary's report that begins on page 2 and continues through the top of page 5. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the business administrative board secretary's report as it is on the agenda?
Moved by Mr. Shaw, second by Mr. Stratton. Would there be further comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call please.
Mr. Galais.
Yes.
Ms. Stratton.
Yes.
Ms. Moore.
Yes.
Ms. Nieves.
Yes.
Mr. Shaw.
Yes.
Ms. Thomas.
Yes.
Ms. Peterson. Yes. And Ms. Pitts.
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Thank you, Ms. Moore. Moving down, board members, returning to our regular agenda. I'm at the top of page 13. We're looking at the Open Public Records Act request order.
Madam President, none were supplied, and so we didn't have to respond.
And you're moving out board members to old business. Would there be any old business you care to discuss at this time?
Yes, Madam President.
Ms. Peterson?
Madam President, as you are aware, New Jersey School Board Association requires that the board does a summative evaluation of our superintendent and it's due in at the end of the month. Based on the documents received April the 13th, 2022, which is the district goals and updated status of the district goals. Also, we received the document accomplishments September 28th to present. If you recall receiving that, along with the 2021 goals and review. Based on that and looking at our options of doing it two ways, I would suggest that we do a summative, and the committee will review the summative that's written up. Anyone that has comments can send comments to us. But the summary should be based on our district goals that we established last August at our retreat. And that's what we're looking at, and that's what we should be looking at. And the summary will be submitted. Committee members is Ms. Thomas, Ms. Martin is in here, and Mrs. Moore. So we'll look at that. Anyone that would like to send any other feedback to us, please send it to us within the next couple of days, and we will generate a summative, and then send it back to everyone else. I hope that everyone's in agreement with that.
Are there any questions? Do we need further clarification?
I was wondering, is it possible, I mean, given how late it is now, we kind of have to go this route. But is it somewhere on the NJSBA website where I can see what their form looked like as opposed to the narrative?
Yes, there is, and it's already, you have to go on to the website, and it shows the narrative. So they have two different forms, and that's why we did it. Now, the narrative from New Jersey School Board Association doesn't address goals specified that we have identified. So it's kind of awkward at best, but with our goals, these are things that we saw fit as a collective body of 9, that this is what we wanted to accomplish. So looking at our goals that we, district goals for 2021, 22, that we recite all the time, that's what we should be looking at. For any other areas for future growth, we can put in any areas of potential future growth, or any areas that may be some challenges to the district. So for that, it could be, and they don't address it. If there was a funding issue, hypothetically, if there was a funding issue and we needed to do some major renovation in one of the buildings, we're on that evaluation doesn't state that these are some of the challenges. Yes, we want to accomplish that, but the challenge is that we don't have the appropriate funding. Any other questions for me?
Madam President, I just was wondering, Ms. Peterson, she's putting that on the floor as a over now, or just.
No, it's not necessary. This is the annual evaluation that we do for the superintendent. And instead of doing it by way of NJSBA, which we are certainly familiar with for the last 2 or perhaps even 3 years, we've chosen to do alternately with that in the summative evaluation. Okay. Board members, any further questions or clarification needed for this issue? Peterson?
Thank you. I appreciate it, and I thank the committee in advance. Thank you, Mrs. Moore, Mrs. Thomas, and in lieu of Mrs. Martin, but thank you to the board for allowing us to do it this way.
Any further old business we want to discuss at this time? Okay, moving now to new business that we care to discuss at this time. What I'm going to start out with is the fact that usually we do have 2 meetings a month. However, the second meeting for this month, because I certainly have been informed that there's no pressing bills that we would have to approve, so therefore we will not be having the second meeting of the month, which is scheduled to be held on, I believe, July 27th. Board members, and it will be posted, so therefore we will just meet for one time this month, which is not anything unusual, because certainly we have done it in the past. Board members, any questions? Anyone would like to reverse that? Okay, you all satisfied with that?
We could hug you, Ms. Pitts. However, I am approved, I have been approved to make payments, in between board meetings.
Yes.
I just wanted to, if you want to reestablish that, we've done it before, it's something that I've been agreed to. We can't enter into contracts, but
Right.
make payments between board meetings, so that our vendors
Exactly.
don't get.
Exactly. And so we're not deviating, so we will continue as we have done in the past.
Thank you, Ms. Pitts.
Board members, comments, questions? Sure you don't want to comment? You sure? Okay? Okay. So moving on, having that been established, board members, as we have spoken before, we usually have our retreat in August. And so here again, August is approaching, and I believe at the last board meeting, even though we did have 5 members here, I'll still be needed, and I believe that I have asked if you would let me know which Saturdays of the 5 Saturdays in August that you would be available to have our retreat. I have heard from several of you, but I need to hear from all of you because I need to be able to get back to Terry Lewis. She has emailed me and has made available as far as her schedule is concerned, 2 Saturdays in August, but I need to be able to tell her exactly which Saturdays we're available. So for those of you who have not gotten that information back to me, if you would please get that information back to me by Friday, so that I can then contact our NJSB representative, Terry, to let her know. Any questions?
Can you let us know those 2 dates? Can you let us know what the dates are that when Terry is available?
She said the 13th and the 6th, I'm sorry, August 6th and August 13th, but she possibly, she led me to believe that perhaps she's open for other Saturdays. And if, as we have done in the past, if she is not available for the particular Saturday that we all are available, then she will call on perhaps Jesse Adams to come in.
Thank you.
Okay? So again, she did indicate that her preference would be either August 6th or August 15th, but she is flexible. Okay?
Madam President, I will, so that I'll be included in the decision making, I would prefer the 13th, just based on my schedule.
Right. That's fine. Any other comments, questions, or we also have a retreat? And just to reiterate, just to remind those who are new to the board, if that's this is your first retreat, we usually start with breakfast at about 8, and we go into a session at 9, and the retreat is usually over by 1 p.m. All right, moving on, board members, informational items.
Yes, Madam President, members of the board and committee. My information items are basically a response to the recommendations from the CDC. If you recall, they provided us with some information. All the board members should receive that through email, and I think Ms. Mazzulli appeared before us with that same information. And she made a couple of recommendations, and I wanted just to respond to the recommendations. The first recommendation was the school district website audit, and she referred to certain things that she would like to see done, and making sure that the links are connected to whatever information is available. We are going to, as we always have done, each building principal, along with Mrs. Curry, myself, with district website and Facebook page, we'll be looking at the information on those websites. We will be, of course, checking to make sure the links that are provided are attached to whatever information the parent is seeking. But I was hoping Mrs. Martin would be here, because if there's anything in particular that they are referring to, so rather than us just at randomly just trying to if there's something in particular that they want to point to as an example. I know early on this year, toward the end of the school year, we had some difficulty with the preschool link, and of course that was corrected. But those are the kinds of things. The school district will continue to work with our parents and the community to make sure we are transparent and provide them with us as much information as possible. However, if there's something in particular from the citizens advisory committee that they want us to look at, then I would ask Mrs. Swan through that committee, they would just let me know. I would appreciate it. And I think that's more or less helping each other to address the issue of these things. All right? The second concern or recommendations made with safety education for community and parents. As a result of the most recent incident that we had, one of the things that stood out was the fact that many parents do not have a clear understanding as to what a lockout is, what a lockdown is, and all the other emergency procedures that we use. One of the ideas that I would like to present is because when we try to do it at board meetings, we don't get a lot of people coming. So we're talking about less than maybe 1% of the total parent population. We've tried special days, evening events, and we may get 10, 20 people. So we're still not addressing the issue with the multitude of parents. So what I would like to do is create a Q&A, a one-pager, addressing what those emergency procedures are. Put it out to the parents, and then at back to school night, when we have probably the majority of our parents come out for that back to school night, and if they have any questions, they can be addressed with the building principal, because you're on the site where those emergency procedures take place. Building principals will be prepared to address any questions. And then from that point, if there are additional questions, then I would open up the school board meeting early in September, October, whatever, if there's any additional questions or concerns, and then we can address any particular questions that we have. But my main concern is making sure that we reach the multitude, making sure that every parent has something in hand so that they are able to read it. If you have any questions, you can talk to someone. And then if there's any follow-up additional questions, then at a board meeting, I can have Chief Diamond or one of his officers at one of our school board meetings, and we can address some additional concerns that we have, because there is, to a degree, some differences with the police response and the school district response. So that's my initial recommendation in addressing it, to make sure that all the parents get something in hand and still be able to ask questions. So what do you think? Board members, any questions, concerns about that?
Dr. Cookie, I like the idea of something visual, the fact sheet. Would it be ready for a family day, August the 27th?
I haven't planned to do that, but I think we may be able to work something out with Ms. Peterson, so for those who are attending, we can pass that out there. I can work on that. And like I said, I don't want to give out 2-3 pages of information. We want one page. We'll address each of the emergency procedures, those kinds of things that we feel that is pertinent for parents need to know. And yeah, so we'll work on it and have something available. But again, it's my primary objective is reaching as many parents as possible to make sure that they have something in hand that they can read, and also back to school night, have an opportunity to ask the building principal specific questions particular to their building, because in many cases, there are some differences depending on the building, like when we do a full evacuation, where do those children go? And it depends on the school. So I think, yes, I'll put that on my schedule of things to do and have something available for the office.
Okay.
Excuse me, Dr. Cookie, I was actually going to suggest that it might be more efficient to put it in
with the packets that go home to parents before school starts.
And what date is that? What packets are you referring to?
Well, when my daughter was in school, but the name changed. There was a packet when, for contact information.
Oh, yes.
So say that way you know it's going to
Yeah,
every parent.
I know what you're referring to.
And you're not
Yes,
just
we do
wasting
that.
a lot more paper by giving it out. And I mean, I think it's a good idea in the future, but I think, we're not wasting a lot more paper by giving it out, function with people who may not even have children in the district. So that would be my suggestion.
That's a good idea. Dr. Carter?
Actually, that is what we discussed after 13, that flyer would be a part of a package of 6 hours during the summer.
We're on the same page. Again, the objective is to reach as many parents as possible, because everybody needs to have that information. Everybody should have that opportunity to ask questions, and we'll give them several opportunities, and also provide an opportunity here at board meeting early in the school year to have one of the officers here for any specifics. And I think we're covered. That should cover the entire community. Good. Any other questions?
A suggestion, is there any way that you can kind of do like a commercial, like, you talk about it and upload it to the website so that people who, want to hear it rather than read it and do something?
Well, I'm not opposed to any suggestions, Mr. Gray. I think it's important that the parents read it. It's also important that if they don't understand it, that they have an opportunity to ask questions, because based on the information I've received from parents as well as staff, that clarification and that information is so important. Our parents have to do it, and I think that's one of the things we need to make sure our parents start doing, because we do provide a lot of information, and one of the things we find out, for example, the handbook, we'll find out in a situation where I ask the parent, man, it's in the handbook, did you read it? And in most cases, they say, no, we never read it. But they have to read this, and I think we try so hard to get information out. I think we're at the point where our parents are going to have to start meeting us halfway and getting a clear understanding of what our expectations are. So I felt it was in our best interest to put something in their hand, and we need to ask them to read it. Now, I'm not opposed to doing a robocall, letting parents know it's in the packet, what's in the packet, why they should read it, let them know they have an opportunity back to school night to ask questions about emergency procedures, we have an opportunity at the board meeting. So we're giving them as many opportunities as possible to put the word out. So, I'm not opposed to anything at this point, but I want to make sure it's feasible enough that we feel comfortable enough that our community is getting the information they need so that they can be prepared if and when we have another emergency procedure. And traditionally, of course, we have these procedures, practice procedures all year long. Our local police is involved with those procedures, and I think that's information that parents need to know, that when we practice, our local police department is a part of practicing those drills with us. So that's the kind of information we want to convey to the parents, that we are working collectively and cohesively with our local police department, so that these things do occur. It's not something new or unique for us. We run around and don't know the left hand from the right hand. We are prepared as well as we can be, and we make sure that all the local entities are involved in the process. Any other questions, concerns? I have one other item. It was brought to my attention, this I'm going to ask Dr. Carpenter to elaborate about our preschool and kindergarten programs here in Winslow Township. And over the years, we've had our programs in place, 4-year program, a kindergarten program, full-day programs in each area. We've made sure we've expanded the program. We apply for additional services. We have a 3-year program that, for students who are recommended to the school district through social services for those young people who may have a disability. So we have an extensive preschool program here in the Winslow Township School District. So at this time, I'm going to ask Dr. Carpenter. Dr. Carpenter, could you just give us an overview of our preschool programs, what we've done, how we've expanded, what we've applied for, those kinds of things, just so that the board and the community is aware. Because I think it's important. It was brought to my attention that there were some questions about the program, and I'm not sure what it is, but we continue to expand and grow over the years. So if you would elaborate on that, I would appreciate it.
Yeah, so Dr. Fitzy, we've had a preschool program in existence for years. So initially, we began with half-day programs and we evolved to 4-day program. The preschool program is funded through the preschool aid grant. And as a result of that, there are strict requirements as to how the program is run, the number of students who can be enrolled in a class, and the requirements for inclusion of classified students. So that's for our general 4-year program. And those students have to enter turn 4 before October 1st. There are no exceptions here. There are no exceptions for exceeding the number of students in a classroom, regardless of what the reason is. We are also required to have inclusion of classified students. Even if we include special ed students, we cannot exceed the enrollment of 15 students. We get funding that's considered to be an entitlement funding, money that we just get. We don't have to do a matching grant in order to receive funds. That money is very limited. So if we were only to run the preschool program off of the funds that we receive, which I believe last year, the year before, was about $750,000. If we want to maintain the programs that we have in our 4 elementary schools, and we currently have about 11 preschool classrooms, the $750,000 does not allow us to maintain our program. So the district has to subsidize that by kicking in additional funding. Even with that, we still would have no room for expanding the number of classes in the district for preschool because of the strict requirements for preschool programs. So there has to be a bathroom in every classroom. The furniture, there's a special layout as to how the classrooms are configured. Special curriculum that we have to use. So we've always had that in place. We receive notification every year around February regarding the application and the amount of funding that we're eligible for preschool. We also have to do a preschool operational plan, and that plan has to be uploaded, submitted to the state for approval, and then we have to go back and develop a budget with the money that we received as part of the grant allocation, and then that has to be approved. We have submitted both, and our grant and the operational plan have already been approved. So I believe we did the first submission in February. We got a letter of approval, and that submission was for the operational plan that we submitted somewhere around February 13th, I believe. Then in March, we received, I believe, the letter of approval for the operational plan. We submitted our budget worksheet, and we received approval for that. So all of this was done between February and April. The only time that we have 3-year-olds coming into the program is because we do not have a general preschool program for 3-year-olds because we cannot accommodate 3-year-olds. However, we have looked at expanding to 3-year-olds based on the enrollment that we've had over the last couple of years. We only take 3-year-olds who are coming out of early intervention That means that we cannot decline enrolling a 3-year-old student. They come in as a classified student. Most of those students go into the PSC program, preschool disabled class, but they may also be mainstreamed into our general preschool program based upon their needs and recommendations. So going back to the inclusion of special ed students, 4-year-old classified students are eligible for participation in our preschool program. However, funds for preschool are not designed to support special ed students. They can be inclusion, but we can't take our preschool funds. Say we wanted to expand the number of classes for special ed students, or preschool special ed students. We can't use our general preschool aid funds to do that. That money is set aside just for general 4-year-old program. So we've always had a program. We have the registration for preschool opened, I believe, around the end of May, and it will close in August. Any questions? Is that what you were looking for?
Yes, and, have we applied, I think I already know the answer, but I think just for communicating information, have we applied for the preschool expansion?
So, let me just think about 4 or 5 years ago, we did have a meeting regarding preschool expansion. And so at that time, we developed a plan as to how we would go about determining whether or not we could pursue the funding for expansion. But there were many things to be considered. One is the location of those classrooms, whether or not we have the capacity to do so. We currently do not have the capacity to do that. The other option was to merge and to form a partnership with some of the local child care centers, and also with Head Start, which was a recommendation. And by joining forces with Head Start, there would be more money available. However, we would be paying for those services. So we had a meeting with Head Start representative and the state, and we cannot accommodate the needs of the Head Start program in our building. We did not have any outside spaces that we could look at as a district to consider whether or not there was enough money for leasing the space. And then that itself comes with additional concerns. The fact that there would have to be an administrator, and we don't have an administrator that we could assign to a separate location. And the amount of money that we would have been eligible for would not have been enough to support the administration and all of the additional teachers, all of the resources to outfit a separate space just for expanding to include 3-year-olds. So we also had a meeting with the local Head Start program location on the road right down from school too. There's a Head Start program there. They didn't have any space to take any additional students because they had as many students as they could handle. And so the size of the classroom is, the number of students that we can have is always an issue. So we didn't have any other options available to us, looking at the additional money that we would have received. Because we participated in that planning process, and because we made a projection for the number of students that we could possibly accommodate, if we had changed with our enrollment and were able to merge one of the 4-year-old classes, that would be the only way that we would be able to have 3-year-olds in our program. That put us in a position to being eligible for some additional funding.
We here in Winslow, of course, take pride in being able to say that our 4-year-old, 5-year-old kindergarten program, preschool, pre-K, again, 4-day programs. There are a lot of districts in our area do not have a 4-year program, a lot of them do not have a 4-day program. So we are proud to be able to say that we are trying to accommodate the needs of our community. When we added additional classrooms to school 4, brought the young people in from the modulars, we still had an opportunity to expand, and at that time we did. So the only thing that keeps us from expanding would be available space. Dr. Carpenter did mention one thing in particular, and that is if we do take on, let's say, an outside space, district will be responsible for staffing that space as well as the administrative. We are in conversation with our children's neighbors. We're not sure, we've never made any promises. They have a building out there. They're going to be working with us, we're going to continue to work with them and see if we have some opportunities available for us to do something in children's, possibly with kindergarten and preschool program. And I think that's in our best interest because all of their students in the school year now. We have had conversations, of course, with Ms. Ortiz, we went over and met with her, and that's a possibility. Now, I don't want anyone to hold me to any type of timeline because we don't know what it is we are able or capable of doing at this point. But that's a possibility down the road that we would like to consider. If and when it's available and if and when we are in a position where we can staff an additional facilities, teachers and administrators to accommodate such a program. And whether or not the state will provide us with enough additional funding, how much of money will children be able to contribute, all of those things will have to be worked out. But that is something we're looking at down. All right? That concludes my information items for this evening. Anyone have any questions they'd like to ask at this time? Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ortiz. Moving now to our public comment portion. The Winslow Township Board of Education highly values the input of citizens in making important decisions that affect the children of our community. We also believe in the rights of citizens to observe our board meetings, to ensure that all citizens have the opportunity to observe and attend or call into our school board meetings and offer comment, and to ensure that the board can conduct the important business of the district. We ask that speakers follow these guidelines to make public comments. The President or the Secretary will recognize those individuals in the order who wish to make comment. Please follow the procedures. Number 1, all members of the public attending school board meetings must treat each other and the board with respect. Number 2, kindly state your full name and address. Number 3, please limit your comments to 4 minutes. Number 4, also please submit your questions that may not be able to be answered at a particular board meeting to the Board of Education, your name, address, telephone number, where you can be contacted. Your questions will be answered within a reasonable amount of time. And number 5, individuals offering citizen comments are not permitted to make personal attacks on any district employee, board member, other testifying, or member of the public. At this time, board members, I'm asking for a motion to approve opening our meeting for public comment.
Motion to open the board meeting for public comments.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Moved by Mr. Shaw, second by Mr. Green. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Thank you. Ms. Boyle, do you have the list?
Yes, Madam President. Mr. Carol Smith.
Everybody doing? As many of you know, I'm a fan and support the football program. And I'm listening to the meeting tonight, I came and just listening to what's going on. We still haven't had, I don't think we have a head coach on the entire situation that's going on with that situation. But, and Ms. Pitchley was speaking on the fact that there'll be a board meeting at the end of this month. Correct. I think our football season might be starting before the next board meeting. And I'm not sure we have a head coach. And And our first game, I think our first game is August 27th. I'm not exactly sure, I'm looking at the schedule. So I don't know how that's gonna play into us having a head coach and time, before the season starts, for the next board meeting. So that's my concern. Like I said, I'm a big fan of the football program. And, I was listening and hearing that part of it, like, oh, are we gonna have a football coach?
Well,
I don't know the situation. I don't know if something's already in place or anything. So I was speaking like this from here at this point.
so I'm going to get that continued. Okay?
Okay, no problem.
Yes, I can address that. Right now, the practices are being conducted by the assistant coaches. So we haven't lost any type of opportunities for the young men to be out there. So the assistant coaches are doing that. We've posted positions. We do have individuals who applied. Interviews will be held on Wednesday of next week. One of the opportunities, or one of the latitudes that the board has given us, particularly when we don't have a meeting, is that as superintendent, depending on the recommendations from the building principal, I can appoint whoever those individuals are and then present it to the board at our first meeting in August. So our first meeting in August is the second Wednesday. I'm not sure, I think it's the 9th.
Yeah.
So we'll have an opportunity to officially appoint that individual. So at this point, we're in good shape.
Okay.
And we're pleased with the candidates that have applied. But at this point, the program has not stopped or stalled because we don't have a head coach at this point. Everything is going as scheduled, and the building principal and athletic director is making sure that those young men have the opportunities to practice. So we're good.
Okay, good. I'm just, like I said.
We're okay.
Thank you.
Madam President, that concludes those that have signed up. Are there nobody in the waiting room online?
No one in the waiting room?
No.
No.
Mr.
I was signing the wrong thing. It's the, I thought it was like.
Esposito.
I don't usually.
Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
It says Christina, could you sign?
Sure, I will.
Thank you.
I said, in terms of, in reference to the, one pager that you're talking about sending home for, informing parents about the security measures, will you be sending that information home in Spanish and some of the other languages, or will it be available in other languages as quickly by families in the district?
We have the abilities, Esposito to do it in Spanish.
Okay.
So yes, we can do it. Thank you.
All right, sure. And I wanted to thank you and Dr. Carpino for the clarity on the preschool expansion plan as well. And if we had any questions about that, would we go to, thank you. All right, great, Dr. Carpino. Thank you very much.
Anybody in the waiting room now?
Not at this time, no.
Therefore, at this time, board members are asking for motion to adjourn our public comment portion.
Motion to adjourn public comments?
Moved by Mr. Shaw, second by Mr. Ray. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We are now back to regular session. And I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Long.
No closed session this evening, Madam President.
Okay. So therefore, board members, all business having been taken care of, at this time, I'm asking for motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion to adjourn our meeting tonight.
Moved by Mr. Shaw, second by Mr. Ray. All in favor? Thank you. This meeting is adjourned. Everyone have a wonderful evening.